All right. So today on the Automate Construction podcast, we're joined by Wessel Van Beerendonk, the founder of StudioRAP and RAP Technologies. So you're in your studio right now.
Yes, I'm one of the co-founders, but yes, yeah, I'm in at the back. You can see our robot workshop, and yeah, we also have a boring office upstairs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that system behind you, is that the beams of the building, or is that a gantry system?
Yeah, that's actually a gantry system. Like in the past, they made giant ships in this factory hall where we are right now. I'm in the inner city of Rotterdam, one of their inner city harbors. Like in the past, they made big ships here, but yeah, all these crafts, they left the city. So we are, yeah.
You're
Like
the new tenants of the space.
Yes, yeah.
With the historic gantry system.
Yeah, it's not working anymore. It's more like it's part of the furniture now.
Yeah, that's a very cool element of the character of the building.
Yeah, sure. Like we are in the RDM Innovation Dock, so we are surrounded by also other cool technology companies, and yeah, we're also one of them.
So yeah, why don't you tell me a little bit about StudioRAP and RAP Technologies?
All right. Yeah, StudioRAP is an innovative architecture office where we combine a computational design approach with digital fabrication technologies. So simply said, it's like we try to realize the buildings that we design according to a complete digital workflow. And digital print, like 3D printing is, of course, one of the nice digital fabrication technologies that, that can help us with that, to translate our digital designs into reality. And yeah, we started 5-6 years ago, and 3 years ago we started RAP Technologies, which is the technological spin-off of StudioRAP, where we develop industrial grade 3D printing software for large scale objects. So we have some clients that print concrete, 3D printing concrete with using our software. And yeah, some clients print with clay, plastics, composites. So, but mainly at the large scale. Like that's what we do there.
Yeah, it seems to me there's really three pillars of innovation for the automation of construction, and it's like the equipment that you use, the material you're using, and the design and the software. So the design software portion seems like the focus of your company and you personally. Right.
We're not developing design software, but production software, like industrial grade production software. So if you have a digital design that you would like to 3D print in a large scale, like if you are 3D printing in the building industry, for example, or you want to print furniture, large scale objects, they also need specialized 3D printing software. And I think yeah, the 3D printing industry that is scaling, that's printing at a large scale, I think they are lacking proper software for that. And
Sure.
in that gap, we're diving, and we want to enhance those companies with great software.
So for people familiar with small scale printing, usually there's like an STL file that's converted with a slicer into a G code. And then the G code is fed into the system's operating system, which is usually Marlin, right?
Yeah, I think there are that's also the thing. I think most companies, they all have a complete different workflow of getting from a digital object to a 3D printed object. So one company, is using Cura, for example, for slicing, but they cannot simulate their robot arm or the gantry system. The other one is using, simplified 3D for slicing, and they are using Robot Studio, for example, for simulation. There are also companies, that are already, using other 3D packages, but, none of them is like is actually enhancing a complete digital supply chain, and that's what we're trying to do. So that's why we developed RAPCam AM, which is our 3D printing software, which is a cloud-based software application. So you can log in as a user, and then you can start slicing your 3D objects that you got for your client. You can upload it to the cloud, and then, you can configure your environments, your production environments. You can configure several materials. Like most of our clients are also using different materials for different type of objects. They have most of the time different production setups. So that's all that you can set up. So you have different users that can change different stuff. Like an administrator, for example, they can set up the environments and the materials. But an operator, they can only simulate the production process, for example. So then, when an administrator set up the environment and the materials, then you can actually start configuring your 3D file. So the 3D file that you got from your client, you can say what the layer width should be, what the layer height should be, what kind of slicing algorithm you want to use.
Infill.
Then, and when you've done that, you can simulate the whole production process. And that's what is unique, is that it's one package. Like you don't need different packages to realize that complete digital workflow within your company.
So it's all in one package, and it's optimized for large scale objects particularly?
Yeah, definitely. I think when you want to 3D print large scale objects, you need different slicing algorithms. You cannot just simply grab Cura 3D, for example, for your slicing. That's developed for small scale objects. So I think, also the most clients, they also have a complete different production setup with different I/O signals, with different machinery. So it's not that simple to just grab like a package from another industry.
So when you work with a client, you don't just hand them the software, you work with them to integrate the software for their equipment?
Yeah, definitely. So we have because it's mostly tailor-made, the software. So we have a standard package, but what we do for our clients is that we integrate their systems in our software. We integrate the I/O signals for them, so they can use it very easily.
So does the file get designed in your program, or is it designed in a different 3D modeling program and then imported to be sliced?
Yes, exactly. The last one. So people can can design their objects in every CAD package. So that's no problem. So you can just export it to a generic file format, and that can be imported in RAPCam AM, and then you can start configuring your product.
Cool. So when you first started this company, can you tell me a little bit about the story of how you guys first got off the ground?
Yes. We started actually with 3 guys, alumni from the TU Delft, the Technical University in Delft. And we were really, we really had that vision to start disrupting the building industry. So we started actually as an architecture office, what I told you, StudioRAP. And that went so well that we started to do a design and build projects. So not only designing, but also fabricating our designs. And for that reason, we started to develop our own software. And at that time, we recognized that, that a lot of parties were requesting software, from at an architecture office. So we were thinking like, okay, if there are so many requests, let's put that in another company. And that's why when we started RAP Technologies, which is a dedicated software development company, and in the early days, we also developed tailor-made custom software applications for milling, 3D milling, pick and place, and also small 3D printing applications. And now that went well, but at a certain time we decided to dedicate the whole company in the development of 3D printing 3D printing software, because we have that firm belief, that this technology can disrupt the way we build, and that it also can help to make the building industry much more sustainable, because we can arrange that whole building system digitally. We can realize a complete digital workflow, digital supply chain. We can also 3D print hollow objects, so we can also save a lot of material. So there are so many benefits of this technology to disrupt the building industry. So that's why we are fully focused on developing software for the 3D printing industry. Yeah.
Cool. So the three of you are all architects.
Yeah. And, during the days, the company grew, of course. So there are also software developers working, of course, at the moment in the software development company. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask. So if the three of you are architects, I know architecture school is no joke. Where did you find time to learn about software? And did you guys develop the initial software yourselves? Or did you hire that out?
Yeah, I think during our graduation, we were not spending a lot of time at the university. So we were mostly playing around with robotic arms already, starting programming, starting to develop our first algorithms ourselves. But of course, we are not a full stack developer. So to make that, to professionalize the company and software, you also need dedicated developers, and that's where we are right now.
So you're all self-taught in programming?
Yeah. But actually, I'm not programming anymore. I'm more responsible for acquisition and the sales. And we hired people, that do the hardcore programming stuff. Sure. At the moment.
So in the beginning, when you were programming the software, were you using C?
Actually, we started with using Grasshopper, which is like a visual programming package. It's a plugin for Rhinoceros, and we started to program in that software package. In C#, Python, and and now we are largely programming in those languages. Yeah.
Very cool. So have you thought about data collection in your software?
Yeah, nice question. That's why we actually made our software cloud-based. So you configure the environments as well as the materials. You configure them online. So also you can configure projects, you configure tasks, you can manage tasks, so you can save everything in the cloud. So in that sense, we can collect data, so we can also do can also hopefully in the future predict when you upload a certain geometry that our software can predict its printability. Because it built up a database, of all its users and all the data that it collected. But what is also very nice about making the software cloud-based is that we can help people in Mexico, that we can help people in Australia, we can help them in Belgium and Germany, wherever you are using our software. We can follow you online, because it's cloud-based, and that's what our clients like. We can help them very easily. We can give them good support from a distance.
Yeah, how many languages do you speak?
Actually, 2. That's Dutch and English.
Mm-hmm. Dutch and English are a little bit similar, right? Because they both have some Germanic origin.
Yeah, we are near the UK, yeah, so we are close by.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So when you have that kind of data collection at a large scale, when there's tons of projects going on, it seems like eventually there would be some kind of machine learning or AI approach to figuring out which models, like predictive analysis of what might be a successful print. I always imagined like a software that a child could make a design for maybe a house or something like that, and then submit it to the file and get confirmation, like an architectural confirmation of whether or not it would be structurally secure or not. Which I don't know, it kind of seems like what you're working towards, but I always imagined that would kind of scare architects because it takes them a little bit out of the picture if the software is good enough.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think I can imagine that. Yeah, that architects scare off for that. But yeah, that's why we actually what I told you. You know, you can actually design the objects you want to 3D print in every package you like, and then export it to a more general file format, and then import it in our software. So that's actually why, you know, we solve this issue. But I can imagine that, yeah, why not? Maybe we can add in the future also, yeah, like a 3D modeling program to it, so you can also do that in the program. But at this moment, we really want to focus on making very easy to use 3D printing software, you know, so that you don't have to be that robot programmer anymore. So also with just a little bit of training, you know, you can 3D print amazing objects. And I think that's the power of the software that we are developing, and that after that you can, you know, you can integrate our software within a current ERP infrastructure. So you can also make your quotations. You know, you can schedule the transport, for example. You can also distill a lot of information from our software. So how long is the printing path? What is the volume of the object? You know, that you can also do proper quotation, but that you make proper quotes, but you can also schedule your transport. You know how heavy an object is, how many fit a truck, for example, all these kind of things.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So you're kind of in a unique position to analyze some of these companies that are doing 3D printed concrete, because you're not directly tied into any of them. So like when I talk to Icon or Abies Core or CBay, they all think they have the best product. But what's your perspective on that? What do you think some of the different like pros and cons are of the different machines, and which ones do you think are showing the most promise?
I think they're all doing a great job. You know, I think they do amazing work. But I think where we differentiate ourselves from them is that, like, we are a fully dedicated company, you know, in developing 3D printing software. So, you know, we have, yeah, with the most advanced 3D printing algorithms that we developed over the years. And I think that's why how we can differentiate ourselves, I think, from those two companies. They are, what I said, doing a great job, but they also have to develop their own hardware, you know, their own materials. You know, if you also have to develop your own software, you know, I think that's an art in itself, you know, to do that in a proper way. So yeah, hopefully we can also help them out in the future, you know, if they are really scaling up. I can imagine that they want to have professional industrial grade software, and yeah, we hope that we can help them out.
So from your pretty experienced perspective, having designed stuff with various of these machines, you think that none of them have like developed a significant lead in the space, and all the different machines are kind of competitive with each other?
I think this 3D printing industry, 3D concrete printing industry is so big, you know, like I think that in the future there will be smaller niches in this big industry.
Mm-hmm.
Like where Icon is mostly focusing on site 3D printing, as well as Cybe, for example, but other companies like Bruil from the Netherlands, BAM, the construction company from the Netherlands, they are really focusing on prefabrication, so they 3D print objects in an enclosed environment. I think that will also be, there will also be a big market for those companies. So I don't think that there is the best solution, that can solve all these 3D printing challenges. I think that we will find like companies that will specialize themselves in a specific niche within the market.
Yeah, I agree. It's such a big ecosystem. Right now, I guess a lot of the companies can seem similar if you're not really focused, because they're all kind of experimenting and getting used to their technology and developing it and kind of fine tuning it. But I think you're very right. And as time progresses and they start getting more contracts in specific areas, they'll kind of have to niche down because there's just too many things in the world to be printed. And it's like, if you want to really do stairs well, you kind of have to focus on the stairs. Or if you really want to do like a circular windmill or something like that, then you got to focus on that to really do it the best. And so like, it only makes sense that companies ultimately will kind of niche down. That's already sort of happening. Like you see Icon getting the deal with NASA, and now they don't seem as interested in printing houses anymore. They really just want to develop technology for the moon, apparently. That's pretty crazy. What do you think about that project?
That's amazing, right? And I think that's so cool about this whole movement. Like I think lots of people always say that the building industry is very conservative. It's a very traditional industry, but I think this movement shows the innovative power of all these amazing people and companies that are focusing on disrupting the building industry, making better quality buildings, making cheap housing with a good quality. I think that's so nice about this movement. At the end, it will improve the way we build, the way we manage, the way we design buildings in a more sustainable way. And I think it can also help, to improve the aesthetics, of all these buildings. That we go from a more and serial mass-produced monotone housing to a more mass customized housing, where every house responds to the specific needs of that client that lives in that house.
Yeah.
So,
from a materials perspective, you mentioned you guys are kind of focused on concrete.
Yeah, like a couple of years ago, we really dedicated the software package to concrete. But last month we are also developing. We are actually adopting the algorithms in such a way that you can also use them for large-scale 3D printing of composites or plastics. Mm-hmm. Also, a client use it for clay printing, 3D clay printing. So I think, that's a nice thing about software. It's a scalable product, so we can easily adapt it also to other industries. And I think also other industries that are now printing, for example, large-scale objects with plastics and composites. I think they're also still lacking proper software, where they, with a very simple interface, with a simple workflow to 3D print objects. And I think also those companies really need, to improve their workflow to be competitive in the end. I think at this time it's still very costly, to 3D print an object, and that's also because you need a lot of work preparation still, a lot of programming time. We hope that we can help these companies, to solving these challenges.
So your software, does it integrate with the mixer and pump of the concrete?
Yes, yeah. So you can in our software you can configure multiple materials, but also multiple pumps, multiple printing heads, and yeah, like you can integrate the I/O signals. So what we do with our software is we control the start-stop of the pump, but also we synchronize the speed with the pump volume. So when the robotic arm or gantry system is deaccelerating, for example, it's also regulating the speed and the volume of the pump. So in that way, you can make proper 3D prints.
If the client's integrated humidity and temperature sensors, do those get plugged into your software as well?
Yes, that's a possibility. Yeah, for sure. So
Cool.
like we have like a standard package with already a lot of functionalities in it, but we also have the capability. You also have the capability. If you have like a special request that's later on our development timeline of the software, we can also develop it faster for you, and then we will integrate it in our standard package.
Sure. Every project I'm sure is very different. But is there kind of like an entry price point to, let's say somebody wants like a small house that's like 100 square meters or something like that? Can you give like a general quote or like an estimate on what that might be?
Yeah, actually not. Like you you should ask one of our clients. You have to ask Brel, for example, or a company like Icon. They are also manufacturing the houses themselves. Like we facilitate those companies with software. So yeah.
So you don't have a flat rate for your software. It's different for every project.
No, we have like a license fee, fixed license fee, and we have like um, different types of
Mm.
licenses. Like you can imagine that if you are like an academic, if you're like doing research at a certain university, you get of course a different price than you are going into full production. So that are like two different licenses, and next to that, we also have enterprise license, and that's like completely custom. Like we also have clients that want to have like a complete custom 3D printing package, so we can also do that. But then we make a custom offer for that, and next to that license fees, we also offer a service license agreement. So we also can give our clients support, as I said, because our software is cloud based. We can also do support from a remote distance, and that's like a monthly fee. And then you also have like these three different licenses, like academic license, production license, and an enterprise license.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's smart to separate it like that, because if you're teaching students in an academic setting, you're kind of building out the ecosystem so that when they in the future have jobs and like want to do a 3D printed house or even just a regular house, they already have the existing knowledge of your software, and hopefully they can like pull it into the real world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So how many objects has your software printed at this point? Do you know?
That's a good question. I don't know yet, actually, but yeah, we have clients that are, for example, Brel. I think they are printing one of the largest 3D concrete 3D concrete printing projects in the world right now. I think there are like at least thousands of objects,
Mm-hmm.
but I think there are like in that project are around 1,200 unique elements, over 1,000,000 meters of printing path.
For the building that they're kind of like revitalizing with the 3D printed facade?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think other companies, like with our studio, we are also using RapCam AM. We use it for clay printing. We are running into a project right now that has over 3,000 facade elements that need to be 3D printed. So there are like thousands of objects, that are already 3D printed.
Wow. So if you were to just give like a top level like list of the different projects your software has contributed to, I think some of my audience, they know pretty well what are the different projects that have happened. So can you mention some of them, ones that StudioRAP RAP Technologies have been involved in?
Yeah, so that's the one of what I just called. That's a revitalization of that high-rise residential high-rise building, but also, for example, the new Delft Blue project from StudioRAP, which is the 3D printed ceramics. Different furniture applications. Stairs, like all these kinds of also small scale products. I think that also is a very nice niche market where you can use this 3D printing technology for.
One question I like to ask is, do you keep any 3D printed objects in your home?
Yes, several. Like, of course, we have like samples, from clients. But one of the nicest is the new Delft Blue.
Cool.
Like, this is one of the 3D printed facade elements that I have at home. Of course, it's so there are some nice treasures at home.
So that one has a glaze on it?
Yeah. So it's
like a pottery glaze.
It's 3D printed in clay. It's then fired and then glazed.
Cool. So, all right. Which like material developments are you looking forward to the most?
Yeah. Of course, the developments in concrete. I think still we. Most of the companies are 3D printing with unreinforced material. Like, there are some examples, for example, of the university in Eindhoven, the technical university, that's printing with this reinforced string, that they put on every layer of the print. But I think also several companies are already diving into adding fibers to it, so that you can also have a tensile strength with the concrete. But most of them are using very short fibers, so it's mostly for hoisting good, but not for bigger tensile strengths. Simultaneously to that, you also have to innovate your pumping system when you want to use larger fibers. So I think that's gonna help especially the 3D concrete printing industry a lot. If they can print with larger fibers, then we can also make the product, I think, more reliable. But we can also make designs more challenging. So that the structures are not only designed for compression, but they can also take a certain bending moment or a tension or some tension in it. I think that's going to help, I think, the industry also a lot.
So if somebody wants to design a model to be 3D printed in concrete, what advice would you give them to guide them towards success?
Actually, it's a good question, because I get that question quite a lot, and that's why we actually added the validation algorithm in our software. So if you upload a 3D file in our software, the software validates the software on several points to give feedback to the user of our software if it's like a proper model to 3D print. So there are several that the algorithm is checking. Like, first of all, it should not tumble the object, of course. So it's calculating the tumbling of the object. Next to that, you also need a closed poly surface. You need a a solid object, you know, that's waterproof. The bottom needs to be aligned with the world plane. All these things, there are several more, are being checked validated by the software. And if one of those is not correct, then gives you feedback, so you know where to find the problem and solution for 3D printing the object in the proper way. So I think if you take those points in account at the very early design phase, I think you're already going into the right direction.
Yeah, I always like talking with architects about this because they have their perspective is based in the reality of construction more than a contractor or more than construction management people, because you guys actually understand and learn the equations that go into testing the building. So from your perspective, how do you think that companies are going to handle the roofs leading forward?
Yeah, you mean the roofs of buildings, right?
The roof of a 3D printed house, correct?
Yeah, I think that's a big challenge, you know, like because we always have to deal with gravity, of course. Like I actually really believe in hybrid systems. Like I see a lot of companies, you know, trying to also 3D print floors and roof systems, but yeah, why not you know, use like I don't know, prefabricated floor slabs made in wood or made in concrete. You know, like you don't have to solve every problem with one system. You know, I think yeah, think also in hybrid systems. Yeah, I really believe more in that than, you know, solve it with 3D printing technology. Because that's also the difference, you know, between the companies that are printing everything in situ, so on the building side, and then you have also the companies, you know, that are 3D printing prefabricated elements, you know, that are just two different strategies to build a multi-tenant house or a multi-tenant building or a single house. So I think, you know, for both, yeah, I can understand both ways, but yeah, also I would say, like, try also, if you are 3D printing on site, yeah, why not think in a hybrid system anyway? Like, I think it will be much faster.
If the end goal is complete automation, what's the most efficient way to get there from the roof perspective? Do you think it would be a different machine that would pick and place?
Can be, yeah. Like I think, you know, at the end, we always have to assemble things on site. Definitely, if you want to go to high-rise buildings, stuff like that, you like a building is such a complex system of a load-bearing structure, a facade, but also the installations you need for getting the right climate indoor. So I think at the end, you know, it's always a way of assembly. So I don't believe in you know, 3D printing everything. So it's always a combination of different materials. Also, you also have to deal with different climates, different architects, you know, that design different buildings, different building regulations. So I think the solution will be there somewhere in the middle.
What do you think it will take to print a skyrise, a steel frame, or will they be able to innovate out of that?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
How do you think, when they one day 3D print a skyrise, what do you think the likelihood of that is? And do you have any kind of guesses as to how they would achieve it?
I think I'm not sure if I understood you right, but you're saying like a high-rise building, like a skyscraper?
Sure. Or even just like 5 floors, 10 floors.
Yeah, I think if you look to the current construction of a high-rise building, it's actually already a way of 3D printing. You know, how they push up the formwork, you know, and build up actually story by story. So that's actually also already a way of 3D printing, but at a very low resolution.
Mm-hmm.
So I can imagine, you know, if we already build that building system, you can also easily put the gantry, you know, on top of it, you know, and already 3D print indoor walls, for example, or walls that you can find in the facade or in the load-bearing structure. So I think that we can build on top of the current construction systems that we already have.
Yeah, I would like to see a printer, like generally for high rise, correct me if I'm wrong, they use the elevator shaft as a really important structural element of the building, kind of from the get-go, and then everything else is built off kind of the spine of the elevator shaft. So why can't they build some kind of gantry system that would ultimately just become the building, where they kind of have pillars in each corner, and maybe the elevator shaft is supporting the center somehow, and then a print head just erects the entire thing around it?
Yeah, that would be amazing. Like that would be the most ultimate way to realize a building. You know, that you design something completely digitally, and that you just send that file, you know, all around the world, and that this new machine starts erecting this amazing building. But I think it's good that that people like you know, spread these imaginative, visionary ideas. You know, I think it helps the movement, the industry to get there at the end. And I think we are taking the right small steps right now with 3D concrete printing. You know. So,
yeah, at that scale, I can't imagine it would make sense to assemble a printer that big and then disassemble it every single time. I mean, I think it has to stay there forever once it's built that big.
Definitely, yeah. You're not going to make this this gigantic gantry of 20 stories in height. You know, like you have to come up with a smarter, smaller system. Yeah, for sure. But I think, you know, that's just. I can also imagine all these new companies, you know, that are starting developing new 3D printing technologies for the construction industry. You know, you have most companies start small, you know, and then they can slightly grow into in bigger construction projects.
What kind of projects do you enjoy the most? Like, I'm sure different people approach you with different kinds of concepts. Which ones get you excited?
That are the pioneering projects, you know, that are really pushing the boundaries of the formal freedom, the design freedom. You know, I think that's one of the biggest benefits of this technology, that you can make one-offs very easily for a very cost effective price, so that you can create all these nice patterns, that you can create these nice undulating walls, you know, that create these very bespoke interior spaces, but also the exterior spaces. So that's where I'm really getting excited about.
The classic battle, I guess, between the architects and the rest of the people on the construction project is a lot of times like architects can be dreamers and they want to see something beautiful and they're not so focused on the money. What can you say about that?
This is all, that's quite a well-known field of tension there is within the realization process of a real estate project or another building project. But I think the nice thing about this technology, like digital fabrication, I think maybe we have to enlarge the discussion a bit. Then is that when the industry can realize this complete digital workflow, you know, I think that can also help, can make these tensions much smaller, you know. Mm-hmm. Like, I think most architects are already designing everything digitally, But if when you go to the building site, you know, we still use a lot of 2D drawings, and there's still a lot of manual labor. And I think there really start then this field of tension starts, you know, like, and I think when we also start to digitize all these fabrication technologies, you know, then that we can make the feedback loop between an architect and a contractor or a supplier of building materials. When we make that bridge much smaller, I think we can also overcome these challenges much more quickly. And I think that can also help those architects to give them more insight. You know, like, why not supply those architects with interfaces? You know, that they can already use the constraints of the supply chain. You know, of the building elements. So they when they design something, you know, and then they send it to the manufacturers, that they already know that it's feasible, that it's a feasible product, and that they already have an idea about the costs. So I really believe that all these technologies help us, you know, um, enclosing this actually linear building system.
Sure. Especially from a details standpoint, if you want to integrate details into a building that's made by hand, you need very skilled tradespeople who are going to be extremely attentive to detail. But if you're printing it, if you have maybe a nozzle that changes size or something like that, you can get very, very fine detail with low human effort. And especially if you're doing it with parametric design, you can end up with something incredibly kind of like diverse and changing, like a flowing pattern or something like that, that would be completely cost prohibitive otherwise. So it's kind of like there's different compartments of where it's more cost effective and less cost effective. Where do you think it brings the most added value? So so people that are where cost is their only important factor, how can 3D printing at its current state, where the material is kind of more expensive than regular concrete, how can 3D printing bring that value?
I think there are like several benefits, you know, where it can definitely add like substantial value. Like, as I told you, like, first of all, there are aesthetics, you know, like, I think the things that you can do with 3D concrete printing, you know, like this formal freedom, you know, that's like so cost effective compared to making these shapes in a traditional way with traditional formwork. Like, I think that's a first way to differentiate yourself. I think the second thing is that we can also make some benefits on sustainability. I'm sure, like, that if we scale up this technology, you know, that we can save up to 60% of materials, you know, because we're going to print only materials where you structurally need these materials. So I think that's a big benefit. And I think in the end, that will be also more cost effective because you use simply less material. And then I go back to the realization of a complete digital supply chain. So I think you can also add value at the early design stage. You know, if we can digitize this fabrication technology, you can also create value in the early design stage, so that real estate developers, you know, they have a very quick insight at the early design stage what a building will cost. By digitizing this whole industry, I think we also end up with less failure costs. So, but we can also predict printability. We can also optimize transportation goes. So in that sense, there are so many benefits where this technology can make the difference.
So to contrast that question, what do you think is, like, if you were to imagine a terrible project that makes no sense and shouldn't be printed, just like a bad, dumb project, what would that look like?
Yeah, I think that would be like the traditional floor slabs or traditional um, wall slabs, for example, that are just solid concrete. I think it's really hard, you know, to make the difference over there. Of course, you can still make these slabs hollow in a way, but also already a lot of concrete slabs, you know, are made of hollow structures. So I think it's so hard to, you know, to make the difference in these types of products. But if you're gonna customize these products, you know, you make them tailor made. I think then this technology becomes valuable.
Mm-hmm. So if you need like 1,000 wall panels that are all identical, maybe it's not the best decision to just print a regular square panel that you're gonna need tons of. You could just get a form, pour it in, and it'll be much quicker and easier. But if you want something that's going to be unique, so that it's not the same 1,000 times over, that's when 3D printing comes into play.
Definitely, yeah. What I said, you know, I believe in this hybrid system. You know, I think you know, every unique location needs probably a unique answer. You know, that's tailor made for that situation. So yeah.
Yeah, here in Canada, I'm with a company called 20 Additive Manufacturing. They 3D printed a small house called the Fibonacci house, and they used a timber frame roof. And it's beautiful, integrating the timber frame with the concrete, because it's not like I've seen other houses that just had a regular A-frame with like 2x4s and plywood or something like that. But if it's actually like a big, thick piece of timber, there's something like elemental that you can appreciate in the aesthetic to that. And so it totally makes sense for me to see different materials being involved in the building, rather than if it's just all concrete. It's so boring, and it's like a cold, hard material. And so if it's not broken up with something a little softer, like wood or something natural, even like glass, it just, you need that to break up the monotony.
Yeah, I can if you like, I can go downstairs, and I have several prototypes standing over there. So if you like, I can show you also some for example, the 3D ceramic printing tiles. You know, I think that's also a nice you know, nice new technology that can add a bit more refinement in ornamentation and decoration. Can also redefine the way we, you know, design these ornaments. But I also have some 3D concrete printed prototypes downstairs. So if you like, I can show you around. Right. So this is the robot workshop where we are right now. Like most people are leaving this space, so it's getting dark here. But hopefully, so these are a couple of tiles, you know, 3D printed in ceramics. We do a lot of testing, as you can see here.
Wow, yeah.
So also, different tiles more for finishing facades. This is printed for an art piece, but they're in the back.
Yeah, I recognize that from a Bruel video.
Yes, exactly. So this is also 3D printed by Brill, which is a nice. It's not printed 2.5D, but also 3D. So you can also see that it's you know, that's printed under an inclination, and you can also see that it's a hollow. You know, that's also nice about this technology, is that
Saves material.
Saves a lot of material.
So what's the maximum angle from the Z-axis that you can print?
Yeah, that really depends on the geometry. Like if you have, for example, geometry that has that gives some counterweight to the object, then the cantilevers can become bigger, but yeah, like, and it also depends on the material. Like, yeah, you can imagine if you have like materials with a different viscosity, then yeah, you can print different objects with that. So most of the time, um, um, clients know the maximum overhang of their own material and their own system. But what our software also does, for example, is it also calculates the inclination. So when people, that's also variable. So our clients can say like, okay, we know kind of that our object will tumble when you print under this degree, and then our software is also giving a visual representation of that curvature and inclination of the geometry.
So you work with all these companies that have different printers. Do you have a printer yourself?
Yeah, so here in the back, we also have a 6-axis KUKA, where we also test our software. And StudioRAP, what I was talking about, the other company, they are 3D printing these tiles at the moment, over 3,000. So that's where we also use this robotic arm for.
So did you develop the extruder, or did you guys buy an extruder from a company?
Yeah, we bought it. So we bought it from probably you know it. You know the company Seed. It's a company in the Netherlands that is making these extruders and also 3D printing systems. So we are in close contact with them. They are mostly focused on the 3D printing industry of composites and plastics. So we hope, yeah, to also deliver some software packages to them in the future.
Oh, that's a cool relationship. So you're both customers of each other, maybe.
Yeah. That's nicely explained. Yeah.
So you guys only use that one printer right now?
Yeah, in the past we had multiple robotic arms from IRS Robotics, but our partnership ended, and actually we are also not doing that much production projects anymore from our studio, because we really want to focus on designing projects. And that's why we also build up RAP Technologies to, there we're going to do the technology stuff in the future. And so we want to put better focus on the two companies. So for the studio, more on designing, and the technology company, we are like fully focused on the development of proper industrial grade 3D printing software.
Mm-hmm. So it seems like you're still very focused on perfecting the software and making sure that you kind of like maximize its utility. Besides that, what are some goals, some like current goals for your company?
Yeah, you're right. Like we are developing these slicing algorithms and simulation algorithms already for 3 years. So they are improved quite a lot during the years. But yeah, like a big focus is to improve our cloud platform, so we can help our clients much better in the future with our support tickets. And very important for us is to build out the software to other industries. So you can also print new materials in the future with our software. So it's not only, now we really focused on 3D concrete printing. And then last month we're also focusing on developing algorithms for 3D printing composites and plastics and clay. So yeah, that also takes a lot of time, because those materials ask for complete different algorithms. So yeah, that takes a lot of time to develop that. So yeah, we will be busy for sure, Jared, coming years.
So your company right now, are you guys expanding or hiring?
Not at the moment. Um, like yeah, we are already with in total with 8-9 people. So for now, that's enough.
And it's the three founders, are all three founders still involved?
No, one left, and yeah, we Lucas and I are running the two companies at the moment.
Mhm.
With a lot of passion and energy, and that's going okay.
So how do you split up your responsibilities, you and Lucas?
Yeah, Lucas is more the technical guy. Um, like we both run the design company, um, and I'm more responsible for the sales and acquisitions, and yeah, Lucas is mostly responsible for the technology development, project management, like that. So that's how we split up our tasks and responsibilities.
Mhm. Do you think that down the line you would want to ever sell the company, or it's something you want to constantly keep developing?
That depends. Like it's hard to say right now, but we are
Yeah.
definitely open also for investors in the future. Like, but it also depends a bit on how this 3D printing industry will evolve. You know, over the coming years. Like everybody says, you know, that this is a booming business and that it's gonna grow exponentially. And then probably we also need to expand exponentially. So we also have to grow with that curve. So then I can imagine, you know, that we also need, yeah, some investments to scale the technology, and so we can help out all these manufacturers all around the world that want to 3D print large scale objects.
Sure. So you're not currently in a like investment round, like it's not a priority of yours to seek investment at the moment.
No, not yet. So yeah, we are just want to add more clients to our cloud platform. Um, yeah, I want to make those manufacturers very happy with our client, with our software, and then yeah, we definitely want to scale up exponentially. So then I'm sure that we can use some investors. Why not?
If an investor was kind of handed to you on a silver platter, what would the lion's share of the money go towards? Like, where would you spend it?
Yeah, I think that we would hire some extra software developers. You know, that we really you know, specialize in robotics and geometry programming, so that we can improve our printing algorithms even more. But also, you know, when you grow exponentially, you also need extra people on the sales side. So yeah, like I think yeah, you need a lot of new manpower, you know, to let it grow.
Mm-hmm.
But I think these two are the most important at the moment.
Yeah, I guess the big question is when will that kind of exponential growth happen? I think there's no doubt that automation in construction is going to win, but it could be a long time, could be a short time. I mean, it's the kind of thing where if the right material is developed, let's say they come out with a cheap material that looks really good and feels comfortable, then overnight all these machines are already ready to go. So if they just feed that like magic cheap material into it, the whole industry could explode overnight pretty much. And so it's like,
Yeah,
when
I
will
hope
that
so.
happen is the big question.
Yeah, I hope very soon. But if you look in retrospective, you know what's happening in other 3D printing industries, you see that's happening. You know, especially on a small scale, you have already seen it. I think it is a very mature business already, but I think the large scale 3D printing industry is still at a very early phase. Like I think most companies that are around now, they are mostly 3D printing prototypes. Of course, there are already some manufacturers that are already 3D printing commercial products and projects, but that's still a very small percentage of the whole of all the products that are getting produced. So I think still we need that that exponential growth in the large scale 3D printing industry.
Maybe all it takes is one Elon Musk tweet.
Yeah, maybe, but we are ready to go, and I think we can add some serious value to the industry, with our industrial grade software. And I think that's so crucial in kickstarting this movement, and especially this growth that it definitely needs, because I think most manufacturers, they are still playing around with like at least 2 or 3 software packages, before they can actually start 3D printing. So we really put that all together in one proper, simple, easy to use software package, and I think that's what we need at the moment.
So a company getting started in 3D printing that maybe doesn't have so much experience, especially them, they would value tremendously from using your software.
Yeah, I think so, because we also have our, we can also give valuable support. Like I think we have our programmers, but also me, we developed a lot of 3D printing knowledge. So we can also, we also get requests, from clients that want to start 3D printing, but then we also guide them to machine builders, system integrators that actually, deliver, for example, hardware to at the end 3D print with our software, of course. But we do not deliver a complete package like other companies do. Like we really specialize in the development of software because we have the firm belief, if we put that focus within our company, that we will that we can at least become market leader later on of these 3D printing software, because we always focused on developing proper software. Like we are good in this, and I think focusing is the key for success here.
Yeah, that seems smart to me, because like I said, so many of these companies are kind of like jack of all trades, just experimenting with different methods. And so they don't have the time and the resources to dedicate to just the software portion like you guys do. And so being so dedicated to that specifically over a long period of time, I mean, I believe in that just with my YouTube channel. Like 3D printed construction is kind of a small niche right now, but by only focusing on that, I'm able to like get further than if I was thinking about 3D printing and prefab and different on-site, off-site, whether it's like, since by just focusing on the 3D printing, I think I'm able to have a better impact than I would have otherwise.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's, I think that people in this industry know your name. So I think that's a good example, right?
It's such a small channel, but I guess because it's so niche, I've met so many awesome people in the industry. It's been really cool. I get to talk to you and get to talk to the other founders and stuff. It's an awesome insight. I really like being able to share it with people.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And I think it will bring you all around the world, right? So now you're talking with me from Rotterdam, the Netherlands, from Canada. People are doing an amazing job in the United States, in China, in Germany. They're starting these amazing manufacturers start popping up all around the world. So that's really cool. Yeah,
I'm hoping to go to Dubai soon. They're open to travel, but Europe's closed to travel for Americans. So I'm planning on going to Europe at some point. I think it's gonna have to be in 2021, but hopefully it's not too long before things kind of open up.
All right. You're always welcome to visit us in Rotterdam. So feel free to drop by.
Sure, I will, as soon as it's possible for me. I will.
All right. Good. I hope. I think you are enjoying your stay, right, in Canada. Like you have some amazing view out there.
Yeah, it is an amazing view, but they're making me quarantine here in Canada for 2 weeks. So I it's a nice view, but after a week, it's getting a little bit old. I'm kind of looking forward to when I can leave the house and start doing some video with the house and stuff, 3D printed house.
All right. When will you go there?
It's 1 more week of quarantine, and then I'll be able to leave the house, and Canada will know that if I have COVID, at least it's not from the United States.
All right. Cool. Are there any questions left, Jared, from your side?
No, I think that covers everything. Thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I think you gave some awesome insights to people who are getting started, and also people who are like maybe have some more to learn from the software perspective. And maybe if we're lucky, somebody will reach out to you after this podcast and request your services.
That would be great. I'm happy to help them out. So feel free to send me a personal message or whatever. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thanks again, and I'll stay in touch.
Yes. And keep up the good work, Jared. It's always nice to see your podcasts, or like your interviews. So it's good.
Thanks, you too, Wessel. Have a good day.
Yes. All right. Bye-bye.